मनस्य वत्साप्य भजस्व पूरुषम्
मनस्य वत्साप्य भजस्व पूरुषम्.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please.
Tameva vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam.
Tameva
vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam.
Mumukshubhir mrugya padabja paddatim.
Mumukshubhir mrugya padabja paddatim.
Ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite.
Ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite.
Manasyava avastyapya bhajasva purusham.
Manasya vastapya bhajasva purusham.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Any one more recitations?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, please.
Tameva vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam.
Tameva
vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam.
Mumukshubhir mrugya padabja paddatim.
Mumukshubhir
mrugya padabja paddatim.
Ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite.
Ananya bhave
nija dharma bhavite.
Manasya avasthyapya bhajasva purusham.
Manasya
bhajasva purusham.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
So this verse goes like Tameva vatsashraya bhritya vatsalam mumukshibhimrigya padabja paddhatim ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite manasya avasthapya bhajasva purusham. So now Suniti is saying to Dhruva Maharaj, tam eva vatsashraya. Vatsa, oh my son, ashraya bhritya vatsalam. You take the ashraya of bhritya vatsalam. Bhritya vatsalam is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is bhritya vatsala, who is like, who loves all his bhritya, all his praja, all his means parts and parcels, you can say that way. Mumukshubhir mrigya padabja paddhatim. So mumukshubhir are people who are seeking liberation. So what they are seeking, mrigya means seeking. Mumukshubhi mrigya means one who is seeking liberation. What he has to do? Padabja. What is the paddhati? Paddhati is for the padabja means to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. Then how it is to be done? Ananya bhave. Ananya bhave means not na anya. Thinking about the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, like as he is the only one who could actually take me out of this trouble. Nija dharma bhavite. That is the constitutional position of Nija dharma. That is the constitutional position of a person. That should be the mood. Manasya avasthapya. In the mind, in the mana, avasthapya means to situate the Lord. Avastha. In mana, you are putting the Lord in your heart, in your mana, in your mind. Bhajasva. Bhajasva means to do bhajan. Purusham is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is how it has to be done. Suniti instructs and Dhruva Maharaj. So let's read the translation and have more discussion on it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
My dear boy, you also should take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees. Persons seeking liberation from the cycle of birth and death always take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, just situate the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your heart, and without deviating for a moment, engage always in his service. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada actually paraphrases beautifully. Like Vatsa here, you should take shelter of the Supreme Personality, who is very kind. So this is Vatsala, Bhritya Vatsala, to his devotees. Bhritya is who is subordinate, so that is called Bhritya. So person seeking liberation, that is from the cycle of that is the Mumukshubhi. Take shelter of your lotus feet, Padabja. In devotional service, so that is the mood, like only devotional service can give. So there is, it's not directly meaning, but it is actually when somebody is directly surrendering to the Lord, it is devotional service. Becoming purified by executing your allotted occupation, which is this one, Nija Dharma Bhavite, this part. And then just situate the personality of Godhead in your heart. Manasi avasthapya. And then he says, without deviating for a moment, that is Ananya, this one, Ananya Bhave. Always engage in his service. So beautifully, Srila Prabhupada puts it. And the purport is also so wonderful. Please read the purport.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please.
The system of Bhakti Yoga described by Queen Suniti to her son is the standard way of God realization. Everyone can continue in his constitutional occupational duties and at the same time keep the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. This was also instructed by the Lord himself to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Go on fighting, but keep me within your mind. That should be the motto of every honest person seeking perfection in Krishna consciousness. In this connection, Queen Suniti advised her son that the Supreme Personality of God is known as Vritya Vatsala, which indicates that he is very kind to his devotees. He said, "You come to me crying, having been insulted by your stepmother, but I am unable to do any good for you. But Krishna is so kind to his devotee that if you go to him, then the combined kindness of millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by his affectionate and tender dealing. When everyone else fails to mitigate one's miseries, Krishna is able to help the devotee." Queen Suniti is also stressed that the process of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not easy, but is sought after by great sages who are very advanced in spiritual realization. Queen Suniti also indicates her by her instruction that Dhruva Maharaj was only a small child, 5 years old, and it was not possible for him to purify himself by the way of Karmakanda. But by the process of Bhakti Yoga, even a child less than 5 years old or anyone of any age can be purified. That is the special significance of Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, she advised him not to accept worship of the demigods or any other process, but simply to take the supreme person, take to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the result would be all perfection. As soon as one places the Supreme Personality of Godhead within one's heart, everything becomes easy and successful. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So Srila Prabhupada's purport very beautifully starts with a very beautiful sentence. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The system of, she says, Bhakti Yoga described by Queen Suniti to her son is a standard way of God realization. Why do you think that this is system of Bhakti Yoga that Suniti Maharani is telling to Dhruva Maharaj? Looking at this verse, what shows that it is a system of Bhakti Yoga? Which part of the verse actually tells?
Ashraya Prabhu. Ashraya.
Yeah, but then when he instructs what things? Ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite. So this particular word and avasthapya. So all those things, if you remember what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 9th chapter, the last verse. Anybody remembers what that last verse is?
Is it Manmana Bhavad Bhakta?
Ananya bhava mad
Vaishyati.
So some of the instructions is here, right? Ananya bhave here, nija dharma bhavite. So it is actually telling about Bhakti Yoga directly. So that's why Srila Prabhupada here starts standard way of God realization. everyone can continue his constitutional occupational duties and at the same time keep the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. So two things are happening. Occupational duties, we are doing constitutional occupational duties, whatever we have to do because of our varna and ashrama, we have to do. At the same time, keeping the Supreme within our heart. A person who is actually elevated, he keeps. Oh, this is also instructed by the Lord himself. Says, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. So Krishna says to Arjuna, when you are doing Yuddha, you can think about me and do Yuddha. You don't have to worry because I am with you. So here it says, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. That should be the motto of every honest person seeking perfection in Krishna consciousness. So this is a message for us. Our motto is to do our activities and think about the Supreme Lord. Whatever activities we do, we have to think about the Lord. What is that special verse that is there in the ninth chapter again? That every activity just do for my thing. What is that verse? Anybody remembers? That is after Patram Puspam Phalam Toyam. There is another
Patra
verse.
Puspam Phalam Toyam Yuma Bhakta Prayachati.
Karoshi Anashnash Yad Johoshi Dadashi. Yat Tapasyashi Kaunteya Tat Kuruswa Madarpadam. So that is the mood of Krishna consciousness that saying. In this connection, Queen Suniti advises her the son that Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhritya Vatsala, which indicates it's very kind. Bhritya Vatsala. He is full of mercy, full of compassion to his devotees. She said, you came crying to me, having been insulted by you, but I am unable to do anything for you. But even my heart as a mother, I have so much, if I have so much love for you, then what to talk about Krishna, whose heart is like millions of mothers combined. That kind of compassion and mercy Krishna has. Here says, surpassed by his affectionate and tender feeling, so much tender. So who other than Krishna can help you? You go and ask your desires to the Supreme Lord himself directly. And she says directly going into the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Suruchi also instructed the same way. In that way, she also she did not say that you go to somebody else. Go to the Supreme Authority and get your thing. So here, also indicated by her instruction that Dhruv Maharaj was only a small child, Vatsa, by 5-year-old. It was not possible for him to purify himself, because if he does demigod worship or go through different processes, it will take more time. So just go directly, do Bhakti Yoga, she instructed. So this is a special significance of Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, she advised him not to accept worship of the demigods or any other process, but simply directly, because if we do that way, then it's a gradual process to elevate into that consciousness and then finally get the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why she told that you can directly go and get all the perfected result. And even she also instructed that if you want your desire to be fulfilled, go and ask the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as your mother Surichi told you. So Srila Prabhupada ends with a beautiful sentence. As soon as one places the Supreme Personality of Godhead within one's heart, everything becomes easy and successful. So when Lord is in the heart, everything becomes easy and successful. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instruction is already there in this purport. Actually, he tells about the combined kindness of millions of mothers in his Tippani. He says that, and Prabhupada included that. And then Ananya Bhava, that is also being described. So and what is the message for us? Our message is, as Srila Prabhupada was saying, motto of every honest person seeking perfection in Krishna consciousness. What is that? Mam Anusmara, do your work, do your constitutional duty, thinking about me. So that is the instruction by Krishna. So I'll pause here, and if there are any questions, any suggestions, any corrections, please go ahead, and any realizations, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. My pranams to you and to all the devotees. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the time to be with the Mother Suniti, Dhruva Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and you all the devotees. Yeah. I was thinking, Prabhu, when this thing happened to Dhruva, he didn't expect that it was going to happen to him. He just wanted to sit on the lap of his father, as simple as that. And when that insult happened, Bhagavatam describes that he was hissing like a snake, a Kshatriya blood. So devotion doesn't necessarily mean that you're always happy, happy, happy. So he was hissing like a snake. He was that disturbed, little boy. Suniti, she is a pure devotee. She's been in there and in that palace for such a long time with great tolerance, tolerating all that is coming upon us for all that is coming upon her for so many years. Such a pure, great devotee. What happened to her when Dhruva came like that? She got so so saddened. And again, Bhagavatam describes like as a burnt leaf. How tender is the leaf? And when the leaf is burnt, what her so she was so much aggrieved deep in the heart. She was a pure devotee, but she was so aggrieved deep in the heart because of what has happened. In spite of all the pain that she was going through, she didn't had a split of thought to point out fingers on anybody. And she so naturally did the same thing to Dhruva. First thing is no pointing out fingers to anybody. Even though she was burning, like a leaf was burning, even though she was so aggrieved. And as that, as it was, as much as it is natural, it was natural for her not to point out. So much was natural for her to simply seek shelter within and say the same thing outside to her son. It is like, it's her very nature. The pure devotee's very nature is that's all they do inside, to seek shelter. And that's all they speak outside. Even if they're happy or sad or disturbed. So and that's what she uttered outside. That's what she does, and that's what she uttered. And so devotion, Mane, in life, it's not like a straight line, straight, static, motionless line, as in AI. Devotion माने dynamic है, constantly changing, dynamic है, but the essence, ashraya, to adapcha paddhati, that essence will stay constant at all the time. That's one thing that stays constant at all times, and everything else dynamically happens around it. So expecting devotion to be a straight non-turbulent line is very theoretical, and it can discourage us, because that's not the reality. It's not a straight non-dynamic line. It is dynamic. But the essence remains the same. So that part, the reason I'm reflecting on the content and emotional aspect of it is very much relevant to us. Very much relevant to us. So that's why, especially with the mothers, with the place that they are put in as mothers, it is very natural to feel that way when something happens to children. Not that Suniti is artificially trying to be something else. No, she did feel aggrieved when something happened to her son. As much as she naturally felt aggrieved, so naturally she was taking shelter of the Lord. And equally the same, she was directing the sun to do the same. This is as natural as it can be in our lives also. That's what I am really appreciating, how Bhagavatam is really into our lives, as ordinary as we are, as neophyte as we are. It is so much into our lives also. And our dear Srila Prabhupada, that beautiful ending statement. As soon as you take the lotus feet of Lord Hari into the heart, everything becomes easy and successful. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura, he was singing also. Abhaya. Yeah, Abhaya, Ashoka, and Amruta. Oh Lord, when I seek shelter of your lotus feet, I become Abhaya, I become Ashoka, I become Amruta. How wonderful is that? So, yeah, Prabhu, how these pure devotees, they direct us to the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
So much, Mataji. So putting a very beautiful realization here. That's so nice. One thing I just wanted to add, Suniti was more, so much like magnanimous, and because such a devotee that even she sees in the instructions of Suruchi so much, whatever the things Suruchi also told, that you go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and she extracted the good thing from there and again giving it back to Dhruva. So that is the beauty of pure devotees of the Lord. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Any other reflection?
Kyunki they are so much anchored. They are so much anchored at the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Wherever they look at, whatever they think, they are wearing chashma of Premanjana Churita. So everything they say.
Yeah, non-envious nature, no envy anywhere. So
Right,
that's amazing.
right.
Even though she was deeply hurt inside the heart, but that feeling of envy did not come out. So that is the beauty of pure devotees. Means when they are deeply hurt also, again more mercy comes. And that is rarely being seen in this material world or experienced. So yeah. Any other reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for talking about once more our hero, Mother Suniti. I still remember a few weeks ago we had discussed this in Bhagavata Pravaham. That words are still ringing in my ear, Mataji. The hero, Suniti. So the takeaway for me also the same point, Mataji. How much pain we have inside, still anchoring to the instruction of Guru and taking the shelter of lotus feet of lordships. So that is only possible for pure devotees naturally, but slowly, step by step, I think we also want to go that way, Mataji. Thank you so much for telling us the beautiful story of Dhruva and Suniti today. Prabhu, Mataji, both of you, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhu. Beautiful realization.